Good afternoon and welcome to this edition of Market View. It's 2 p.m. Central African time, and if there's one thing business doesn't do, it doesn't wait, and neither do we. Today, we'll start with a knock on the door. Quite literally, the Eswatini Revenue Services Bafunzise campaign is making the rounds, and here's what they've uncovered so far. Over 30% of businesses visited so far do not have taxpayer identification numbers. What happens next? We will break it down on the show. Meanwhile, in the world of policy, the Citizens Economic Empowerment Act is being hailed as a game changer for Swazi-owned businesses. But is it empowerment on paper, or will it translate into real economic muscle? That is another story that we will get to enjoy on our business news segment. And then here's something you probably haven't thought about. Those 5 and 10 cent coins that you no longer see or use, they might just be making everyday goods more expensive. We get into the economics of small change with big consequences. Then, of course, the markets, Wall Street rallies, Europe stumbles, as well as Asia. Well, let's just say it's been a rough day today. Sunny Lespia will help us make sense of it all. It is sharp, and it is fast, and it's all right here on Market View. Good afternoon once again. Let's start the show by looking at the business news that lead the headlines today. All right, since the Bafunzise door-to-door campaign by the Eswatini Revenue Service started on Monday, it has been found that 68.1% of businesses visited already have taxpayer identification numbers, whilst only 31.9% do not. This was said by the Commissioner General, Brightwell Ngambule, adding that the campaign has strategically started with 3 major business hubs, which are Manzini, Matsapa, and Babane. Now, the Commissioner General was speaking at the services' headquarters at Eswatini during the official launch of the campaign, which aims to actively support businesses through education, engagement, as well as access to compliance tools.
This campaign is more than just education, it is about empowerment. We are actively supporting businesses through education, engagements, and access to compliance tools. That is why we are taking a proactive approach, ensuring that businesses have access to the necessary knowledge and resources. A dedicated team of ERS officers has been deployed across the country with a single mission to educate. Our teams will be easily identifiable, wearing ERS branded apparel and carrying official ID cards to assure business owners of their legitimacy. Their role is to explain compliance requirements clearly and effectively, highlight simplified tax solutions such as the presumptive tax system, provide information on custom solutions to help businesses expand into regional and global markets beyond the Kingdom of Eswatini. The Bafunzise campaign is being implemented in phases. However, I can confirm that we have strategically started with the 3 major business hubs, Manzini, Matsapa, and Babane, before expanding to the rest of the country. This approach allows us to refine our outreach strategies and tailor our messaging based on feedback we receive. Since the campaign officially began on Monday in Manzini, we have engaged 182 businesses, and here are some of the key highlights. One, of the businesses that we have visited, 68% of the businesses have already registered for tax, so they have TINs, while the 32% do not. Many unregistered businesses assumed that tax registration was only for large enterprises and believed that they were exempt from tax obligations. This highlights the importance of our campaign in dispelling these misconceptions. A significant number of businesses were unaware of presumptive tax, and our teams are now actively educating these business owners and distributing informational material to simplify compliance for the SMEs. These early findings confirm what our compliance data have already indicated. Low awareness is a major factor in non-compliance amongst SMEs. Through this campaign, we are actively working to bridge this knowledge gap. While we are proud of progress made so far, this is just the beginning. We plan to engage more municipalities, and following which we will then engage regional administrators to ensure that Bafundzise reaches every corner of the country. No business shall be left behind.
Industry leaders in the energy and construction sectors have applauded the Ministry of Commerce for coming up with the Citizens Economic Empowerment Act, saying that this will be a game changer for indigenous Swazi-owned businesses, as now it will be in writing that some sectors should be reserved for them. Today marks the 4th day since the committee tasked with gathering views to formulate the regulations is meeting different stakeholders. Now, the construction, infrastructure, mining industry actors and energy sectors made their submissions at the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade in Babane.
So today we are here to actually understand how they think the Citizen Economic Empowerment Act could be of benefit to their industries, in particular to the issues that they have encountered on the ground. We can't sideline really any issue because all of them are quite important, and the exercise that we're having here today, we are doing all due diligence. Part of the submissions we've had so far is that we are having a lot of products that are coming in through the border gate that are not accounted for at ERS level, or when they come in, there is no fair distribution also at play, because you find that sometimes they deliver directly from trucks to consumer, which is a very big problem because we have local manufacturers that are actually producing to supply the domestic market. And if we have international products that are coming in at lower prices, it means that the industry is being disrupted in a very negative way.
Different industry leaders have shared what they are submitting to the Citizens Economic Empowerment Council.
On our side, really, one of the things that we have touched on, or we would like to see, is the issue of seeing maybe women operating, filling station, owning and operating filling station. I'm fortunate to be one of them.
Let's observe ukuthi kulama companies la aphuma ngaphandle. Ku-proper ukuthi nawe efika angatisebenzele odwana and maybe a partnership or a joint venture nema-local.
More and more work is going out of the country, and the perception is that we don't have the qualified skills in-house. We appreciate the initiative that the ministry has done, because now we can showcase that we are here, we actually are out of work, we don't have much work, and maybe that's why it appears as if we don't have the skills, is because we can't show it.
For us as consultants in the country, we want to be involved in the construction sector. We want actually young businesses, small businesses of our firms, consultants, all sorts of consultants, engineers, quantity surveyors, architects. We want these jobs to be given to Swazis, indigenous Swazis.
The Citizens Economic Empowerment Act in the country aims to drive inclusive economic growth by empowering local businesses, particularly micro, small and medium-sized enterprises, through measures like preferential procurement and promoting joint ventures. Once the regulations have been promulgated by Parliament, the Act will come into motion. For Market View, Nelswendla Ngamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Ezulwini.
We close the curtain of our business news. We'll be back shortly and we get into our new segment, Enterprise Watch, after the break.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. For any complaints of our programming, please contact us on 2411-9600 or email info@eswatinitv.co.za. You can also contact the Eswatini Communications Commission on 2406-7000 or write a letter to ECCOM on PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Email address is info@ecom.org.sz.
Welcome back. This is Enterprise Watch here on Market View. There is a trend where lower coins denominations like 5 cents and 10 cents are no longer being used or are found thrown on the streets by Eswatini. Have you ever asked yourself what impact not having enough of these coins will have on price inflation? Well, economists say not having enough of these coins could basically mean that retailers would have to round up a certain price up to the nearest lilangeni, and this will affect consumers and producers. Our business journalist Nelson Ndlangamandla sits down with Zodwa Ngambula, who is the Deputy Director Operations, Currency and Banking at the Central Bank of Eswatini, to find out really more about the importance of these lower coin denominations.
Thank you so much, Director, for joining us on Market View. We have noticed that Eswatini are not using some of the lower coins denominations, like Nje. You can find 5 cents. What is the central bank doing about that?
First of all, on the side of the central bank, we'll say like all denominations are being used currently, but at different rates. The higher denominations, which is your E5, your E2, and your E1, they are highly used. And then when we come to 50 cents and 20 cents, 10 cents and 5 cents, we can see a challenge with the 10 cents and 5 cents. I think everyone is aware it's very difficult to come across the 5 cents currently. And the central bank did not demonetize 5 cents to say we are stopping the circulation of 5 cents. But the central bank in 2015 took a stance to say we will no longer mint 5 cents. So the decision came following, I would say, public behavior. What the central bank normally do is to monitor the public, how they value their money. So it will be the same case with the 10 cents, where we are currently seeing a problem. I'm sure each and every one of you, when you go around the streets, you do come across 10 cents, and most people do not pick up the 10 cents. So it means people are not valuing the 10 cents. So what will inform the central bank to say what can we do next? It will be the public in terms of valuing the money. And what we normally do, we do engage the public, we conduct roadshows, we also conduct research to find out what is happening. So that is what is happening currently. The central bank is continuing to mint 10 cents, and 5 cents has not been demonetized, and 10 cents is not demonetized until the public show that they no longer value the 10 cents.
In other settings, Director, you find that where the bill, when a customer goes to buy something, where the bill is $49.99, for example, the retailer has to give 5 cents change in return. How is that affecting retailers in terms of profit? Because sometimes it basically means that the retailer would have to round up the number up to the nearest lilangeni. How is this going to affect consumers and producers, and how is the central bank thinking of solving this?
I would say in the case of retailers or shops, they do have their own pricing models, their own marketing strategies. To say I say $4.99 or I say $5.95, it is a marketing strategy. And the retailers as well, they are like the public. They are aware what is happening with the denominations in the country. They know that the central bank is no longer minting 5 cents. So it is a pricing model that they use. And I think it is the decision of the retailer to say, how am I compensating that particular customer when it comes to change? But it is the right of the customer to demand their change. So I think it's the decision that maybe retailers as well need to look at it in collaboration with what is happening in the space of the central bank in terms of prioritizing the minting of the coins. So there is nothing much. I don't believe that the customers, they lose most of the time because the customers, they know that they can demand their change. I think it is the case of the retailer to say how can they manage their pricing model to see that they accommodate the way that maybe our currency denominations are being managed in Eswatini.
As we are speaking about these lower coins denominations, I'm just thinking about issues of inflation, price inflation. Won't this have an effect if maybe people are no longer valuing the 10 cents or the 5 cents coins?
If you go deeper, you will see that it will have an impact on inflation in terms of pricing, but it is not a direct impact because there are many factors that impact on inflation per se. But to say that it will greatly impact on pricing or on inflation, we cannot say that because we have seen how it has been all around. I think even retailers have come up with strategies to say you can put your change in your card if you have a card. And there are also digital payments options. You can pay with your card. So it's not always a cash transaction. So I think currently the impact in inflation is not as huge as you may think that it is because people have options to say this is the mode of payment that I can use at that particular time.
What are the costs of keeping the lower coins denominations? Because at some point I think I heard that it costs about 65 cents to make 5 cents.
What I can say, yes, the lower coins denominations, they do result in a negative seigniorage, and the higher denominations, they result in a positive seigniorage when you look at the cost of minting the coin and the face value of the coin. So I think we don't, as a central bank, yes, we do look at each denomination, but in making our decision, we look at the overall impact in seigniorage. So currently our seigniorage is positive when we look at the whole part of the coins. So you cannot, we do look at 10 cents and maybe 5 cents, but we also look at the other denominations so that they can be maybe economies of scale in terms of balancing the seigniorage. Otherwise, like you have mentioned just now, that pricing is also impacted by the denominations that a country has. The Central Bank of Eswatini still has to mint the lower denominations to make sure that pricing is also accommodated in terms of the cents.
Can you be specific maybe to say how much it costs now?
I cannot disclose that per se, yeah.
Dear Vagala Director, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Unfortunately, we only have 10 minutes on Enterprise Watch. Thank you for being on Market View.
Conversation on lower coins denominations there. You had it very comprehensive, and perhaps you do understand, hopefully you do understand the implications now. Let us go for a break. We shall be back with our market analysis segment.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. For any complaints of our programming, please contact us on 2411-9600 or email info@eswatinitv.co.za. You can also contact the Eswatini Communications Commission on 2406-7000 or write a letter to ECCOM on PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Email address is info@ecom.org.za.
Thank you for staying with us. Welcome back. This is Market Analysis here on Market View. Let's talk the numbers that never lie today. And today they are painting a rather fascinating picture, a picture of optimism, of caution, and that of downright jitters, depending on where you look. Really, we will start with Wall Street, where we are seeing the bulls are running here. Dow Jones Industrial Average and positive 0.92 on the Dow Jones, and that is the Nasdaq Composite there with the positive 1.41%, and the S&P 500 at positive 1.08%. We are seeing here the United States markets are riding high. Tech stocks are leading the charge and propelling the Nasdaq up 1.41%. S&P 500 and Dow Jones both in the green as well. But what is the real reason? Could be the Federal Reserve has traders on edge, but in a good way. There's growing confidence that rate cuts could be coming sooner rather than later, and markets are lapping it up. But before we pop the champagne, is this rally built on solid ground, or are we setting up for a nasty fall here? Now, the smart money says that the Fed is still watching inflation like a hawk, and one wrong move rather could send this market tumbling down. We move from the United States across the pond. Now we go to the European zone, and one word there, pain. You are seeing all the red there, like when you are late for work on the road and the traffic light turns red. That is the pain that is felt by Europe. FTSE 100 negative 0.44, DAX negative 1.87%, CAC 40 negative 1.29%. It's not quite the same party as what is happening in the United States. A sea of red sweeping across major indices, and the biggest casualty, what is the biggest casualty here? Germany, the DAX has tanked nearly 2% as economic concerns pile up. Now, the banking sector, we're seeing that it is wobbling. Industrial output is sluggish, and investors are running for cover. The UK's FTSE 100 slipping slightly there, negative 0.44%, weighed down by energy stocks, feeling the pinch of oil price uncertainty. Meanwhile, France's CAC 40 is down by negative 1.29%. The concerns about the EU-wide economic slowdown refuse to fade away. We go to mainland now. In Asia, we are seeing a troubled picture here as well. Nikkei is on negative 0.25%. The Hang Seng Index negative 2.23%, and the Shanghai Composite negative 0.51%. A tough session there for the Asian markets, and China is at the center of it all. The Hang Seng Index in Hong Kong is in free fall. But why is that? Investors could be losing faith in China's economic recovery, and the property sector is a mess. Regulatory uncertainty keeping big tech stocks in check, and global sentiment is just, bleak. Japan's Nikkei slipped slightly, negative 0.25%. Investors digest the Bank of Japan's policy shift. This is after years of negative interest rates. Japan is signaling change, big change that is, and markets aren't quite sure how to react to that. We move closer to home, South Africa, and here at home, Eswatini. Stability rather but for how long? That is the question. JSE All Share Index, negative 0.33%, and the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, slightly in the red with that number, but does it reflect the broader global caution? Well, mining stocks are feeling the heat from fluctuating commodity prices, and South Africa's currency situation remains fragile at best. Let's come home here in Eswatini. The Eswatini Stock Exchange All Share Index is steady, but the big question here is, for how long? Global uncertainty, particularly around inflation and interest rates, could soon spill over into local markets. After looking at these numbers here at home, let's look at the commodities holding the line here. Gold, negative 0.15%, hanging on near key levels, and Brent crude, negative 0.06, pausing after recent swings. Gold is treading water as traders watch for inflation data and Fed signals. Meanwhile, oil prices are flat, but do not be fooled. Volatility is never, ever far away. We move over, we look at currencies. The Lilangeni moves. The numbers here, USD SZL, negative 0.60%. A weak dollar gives the Lilangeni a boost. The Euro SZL, negative 0.02. Not much action here, steady as she goes. And the SZL juxtaposed with the Japanese yen, negative 0.47%. The Lilangeni takes a hit against the Japanese yen. Well, the overall here is that the Lilangeni is strong against the US dollar thanks to a weaker greenback globally. But again, the Japanese yen, not so lucky there. Japan's shifting monetary policy, shaking things up, and emerging market currencies, including ours, are feeling the ripples. What is the final takeaway from all these numbers? Wall Street is flying, but can it last? Europe is wobbling, and Germany is leading the drop. China is in trouble, dragging Asia down with it. Commodities, on the other hand, are steady, but keep an eye on oil. The Lilangeni gets a boost against the dollar, and let's see how long that holds. That is the overall state of the markets today. Fast moving, of course, unpredictable, and absolutely thrilling. Even with Sanele Spear's absence, we have tried to give you quite a comprehensive, I'm not going to call it analysis, but let's call it just really the way that we decode it here on Market View. But hopefully, as the days continue, we will get Sanele back here on the show with his sharp analysis. We hope that our investors, our business people are informed to make better informed decisions as they make their investments. Thank you for staying with us on Market View. It has been a great show. We've looked at some of the developments happening around the Citizens Economic Empowerment Act regulations as stakeholders continue to drill into, how we better leverage it, and that local businesses, indigenous businesses, really benefit from this act, which really promises to improve the state of our local economy. We have also looked at other developments on the program, like currency denominations. What really happens when we throw away our 10 cents on the road and the implications therein. This has been Market View. Thank you for staying with us. We hope that you enjoy the rest of your day today, and we can cap off the week tomorrow and enjoy our weekend. Bye-bye.
France 24, your economy explained.
Liberté, égalité, actualité.
Welcome back to Paris Direct. The headlines this hour. EU leaders in Brussels as the bloc mulls a ramp-up in defence spending and fresh support for Kyiv. Thursday's gathering also comes as uncertainty mounts over the relationship with the United States. 37 people have been detained in Turkey for provocative social media posts linked